Hi everyone, this is Hani from Haniela's, and today we're gonna make onion rosemary breadsticks. The recipe is from the baking sheet newsletter from King Arthur Flour. They now offer digital subscription you can get, and it's really great because it works on a tablet. You can use it on your phone, or I'm gonna show you. I used on my desktop. So here is what it looks like, and you can actually go through all the recipes they ever published. There are over 3,500 recipes altogether, so you can look through them. You can use them for the reference for your project, and you can also use a search option. Just type a keyword and all kinds of recipes will come up, and this is the recipe I found for the breadsticks. I actually used the keyword picnic for this, and then I looked for the recipes that were there, and I really like this one. You can zoom in on it, or you can also print it if you wanted to. On the right hand side in the right corner there's a print option, and this is what it looks like when it's printed. Actually ended up halving the recipe, and I substituted some of the ingredients because I didn't have everything. You can also print the recipe directly from my blog. And here I have raw honey. I'm also using mild molasses. If you don't have molasses, you can also use honey instead. I have salt. I'm using kosher salt, dry active yeast, rosemary, olive oil, fresh ground black pepper. I have diced onion, and also my toppings, poppy seeds and pretzel salt. And also I'm using all-purpose flour. First, I'm going to saute onions with 1 tablespoon olive oil until onion is translucent and golden brown, and then it looks like this. So we just have to let this cool for 10 minutes while we prepare the sponge. So for the sponge I'm using warm water. Now I'm just going to add yeast, sugar, also honey, and also molasses. And last thing, I'm just going to dump in half cup all-purpose flour and then just stir it really well, and then let this sit for 10 minutes. Okay, and while the sponge is working, we can get the garlic oil ready. So I'm just pressing 2 garlic cloves into oil. You can use olive oil or vegetable oil, and then just stir it and let it sit. You can set this aside until we are ready to use it. You also need rosemary. I'm using fresh rosemary. I'm using 2 tablespoons per the recipe. If you are using dry rosemary, I would suggest that you only use half tablespoon instead of 2. Okay, so the sponge is ready, so we can start making the dough. So I'm just going to add remaining ingredients: olive oil, chopped rosemary. I'm also using, as I mentioned before, pepper, kosher salt, and at this time I'm only going to add half of the flour, and then also don't forget to add onions. And then you just want to stir this until it all comes together, and then I'm going to um, switch the paddle attachment for the hook attachment so we can knead the dough. Okay, and you can now put the hook attachment on, and then I'm just going to dump all of the flour in at once, and we can knead this until it comes together. Okay, so now I'm just going to dump the whole thing onto my cutting board, and then you need to knead this for a few minutes until it forms a ball. And then you can coat your bowl with a nonstick spray or olive oil and cover the bowl with plastic wrap, and then you have to let this rise for 1.5 hours. I like to let it rise in my oven with 3 cups of boiling water on the bottom rack. Okay, and then this is what it looks like after the first rise. And I'm just going to quickly work the dough a little bit to deflate it, to get rid of the bubbles. And you can now cut it in half. And now I'm just dividing the dough into approximately equal sections. And here comes the part where actually kids can help too with this, that you just need to roll this out into long ropes. And then you can just space them out on the baking sheet about an inch apart. Okay, and then you need to cover this with a damp paper towel and let it rise again for 30 minutes. At this time, you can also preheat your oven to 400 degrees on Fahrenheit. You can also make smaller breadsticks and thinner breadsticks directly on the baking sheet like I'm doing here. Depends on what you want. You can really make different things with this dough. You could also make snails, little swirls and stuff. And same thing, cover it and let it rise again. And now I'm just using the garlic oil we made before. I'm just brushing each breadstick with olive oil and then sprinkle it with a topping. I'm using pretzel salt. We really like pretzel salt in my house. You can also use poppy seeds or sesame seeds if whatever you like is fine. Or you could also leave them plain if you don't like any toppings. Okay, and this is what they look like when they are baked. They're really yummy alone, or you could also use them as a side dish to your pasta salad or vegetable salad. I actually ended up eating them with my string bean casserole. You can find the recipe on the blog. So I hope you like this tutorial. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all the video updates via email. Thanks for watching.